I'm Shalonda Gordon, also known as the Online Marketing Angel, coming to you with Confessions of a Single Mom. And we're talking about the key, the one key to single parenting success. The one key to single parenting success, which means basically this is for moms or dads. So why did I come up with this for today? Well, as you know, there's going to be a confession. So stay all the way to the end of the video so that you can get that solution and that confession, right? Well, I had a friend call me today, and he is actually a guy, so he's a single father, which means, guys, it's not just women, it's men and women that deal with these situations of being single parents, right? Single parenting isn't just for moms, you know, it's for dads as well. Now, I personally go from a mom's perspective, yet I have friends that take it from the father's perspective as well. And so he called me, and he was kind of in a bad place because he had a little baby mama drama, right? And there was a lot going on in the relationship between the mother and father, between him and the mother of the child. And he just kind of was like, Shalonda, I just had it, you know, and was taking it to a different place, which made me come to a situation of, okay, I've dealt with some things like this before. This particular time, I was able to render my advice. Now, you know, there's times when, you know, I have to go for the advice because I don't have all the answers. None of us do, right? So understand, I'm just telling you from the perspective of what I've come from, and knowing as single parents, we all deal with situations in single parenting that make us have to make certain kinds of decisions. And I found that there's really one key, just one key to success. It's one thing, one focus. And if you focus on this one thing, everything else will fall into place. Now, let me first go in a little deeper here. So the situation was basically lack of communication, and in the communication there was given off certain vibes, and in these vibes feelings got involved. And when feelings get involved, yeah, you already know. You know what happens when feelings get involved, right? Especially with women, right? And you know, men might try to act like it's all women, but there are some men that got some feeling issues too, right? So basically, I remember when my oldest daughter was a little younger, and her father would constantly come to me to get a rise out of me. I'm not saying he wanted me back. I'm not saying he simply didn't like me. All I know was it seemed like he was content when he got some sort of response out of me. And more than likely, most of the time, it had nothing to do with our child. Nothing at all to do with our child. Nothing to do with how he took care of our child or not. Nothing to do with how he showed up for our child or not. It all had to do with him having this need to get a rise out of me. Now, at the beginning of this, I used to fall for it every single time. Some of you watching this video right now, maybe even you know there's times when an individual tries to get a rise out of you, and every time they push that button, and every time they push that button, that hot button, you go off. You respond immediately. Immediately, right? Well, this was the situation I was in. Every time, you know, my daughter's father knows me. He knows what buttons to push. At least he knew me then and knew which buttons to push. And so he got a response. Even though it was negative, it brought comfort to him. Even though the response was negative, it brought comfort to him. It put it in a position where, however I tended to respond, things would get then turned around and it'd be all back on me again. So at the end of the day, there was no responsibility taken by anybody but myself, simply for what I had said or my actions after the response from that button being pushed. So basically, I had to change a few things on how I respond. See, you can't change anybody. You can't change your child's parent, father, or mother, right? Depending on which you are. You can't change them. You can only change how you respond to the situation. Now, in the midst of this change that's taking place and how you respond to the situation, I'm not going to sit here and act like, oh, it's going to be so simple, so simple. But if you have this one key, then it makes it a little bit more manageable. All right. And over time, the more you control how you respond to things, the easier it becomes. Just like anything, you know, you create habits doing anything. The more you respond based on what you know, the easier it becomes. So it got to a point where I was talking to a mentor of mine that guides me in life. And I was telling her how, you know, this dude, every time he coming at me with some craziness, some lies, he be telling other people all these stories that I know aren't true. Nothing has nothing to do with me. It's not true. I go into defensive mode because he's one lying, right? And he's telling the lies so much that in his mind, I honestly believe he thinks it's the truth, right? And so Now there's all these other people that I really don't even know, don't care, don't affect my world, but they know all these things that they think they know about me based off lies being told. This happens in relationships, period. It can even be girlfriends, your homegirls, your homeboys. This happens, period, where when there's an offense that comes into play, and that if that person that has the offense is not mature enough to deal with the offense, so they turn around and lie and hold themselves not accountable for anything, not even bringing the offense to you, and turn around and spit out stuff out their mouth based on their offense. Right? And so then you hear about it and you go kind of into defense mode. Or I will hear about it and I go into defense mode. Like, that's not even true. That's not even how it happened. Like, wait, get the whole story first before you pass judgment on me. Right? So I told my mentor, I was like, look, this dude right here, I can't even take it. It's just I just want to cut off everything. And at this point, it was a thing of, I don't even want there to be any visitation. Like, I don't even want to have to deal with it anymore. He's lying. You know what I'm saying? He's tapping on stuff like as if me being a single parent, taking care of my child, doing single parenting things alone isn't enough. Like, you can't just appreciate that. No, that's just too much to ask, right? So she says to me, she says, Shalonda, every single time he gets a rise out of you, it would be basically like him having an orgasm. Now, okay, hope this video is PG, right? But it's basically like him having an orgasm. Now, that thought to me maybe made me throw up a little bit in my mouth, because I've not one to go back. You know what I'm saying? I'm cool. You know, once it's done, it's done. You know, decisions were made on my part, right? And once those decisions were made, I had to live with those decisions and the consequences and the greatness that comes from it. Because honestly, based on those decisions, I now have an amazing daughter, right? That brings joy to my heart every single day. Do I work hard? Yes. But is it worth it? Absolutely. Would I do it all over again knowing I would have her at the end of it? You best believe I would, right? So basically, when she said that, though, it helped me realize, she said, so Shalonda, you have to control how you respond. You have to control how you respond. You have to be very strategic in what you say and what you don't say. Very strategic in how you respond to things. Because as long as you continue responding the way you're responding now, he's going to continue to push that button and continue to push that button and continue to push that button. Okay, so I found that key to successful parenting, successful single parenting, because basically we have to deal with the other parent. Right? Some of us don't. One of my children, I don't have to deal with the other parent at all, right? But in some situations, you kind of desire to have that other parent around, because it's going to be best for the child to be able to build their own relationship with each parent. If you hold on to this one key, and I want you to prepare yourselves, because hopefully it's exactly what you think it is. The one key to successful single parenting is to put your child first, regardless of how you want to respond, regardless of anything. Before you respond, you think to yourself, is this in the best interest of my child? Put in front of yourself the visual of the goals you have for your child, the emotional state you have for your child, the love you want your child to feel, the lack of fear you don't want your child to feel, the protection you want your child to feel, the ability to do whatever they want to do in life and take over the world and do it with a conquering spirit and be able to conquer, right? Come from that perspective. Before you respond, make sure you're very clear on what you desire for your child. Because most of the time when we respond in these situations as parents, as single parents especially, we're responding out of our emotions, out of our feelings, out of our need to defend. It really has everything to do with us and nothing to do with the child themselves. Okay, now if the child is in harm's way and that kind of thing, that's not what this discussion is about. This discussion is about how to hold on to that key so that you can have successful single parenting. Okay, whenever that time arises, when you feel yourself having to respond on the defensive, stop. Just stop it. Okay, and make a decision that what you're going to do at that moment is basically think about what's best for my child. What's best for my child? And once you know that thing and you put that thing in front of you every single time, everything's going to change. Everything will completely turn around, because you'll find that the way you respond to things will be completely different. It's very interesting. The minute I implemented that into my life, okay, whenever my daughter's father would push that button, and trust, just because I made a decision that I was going to respond differently didn't mean he made a decision to stop trying to push that button. Right? So understand clearly, when you make the decision to look in the mirror and decide for yourself that the only person I can change is me. And when you make that decision and you realize you can't blame anybody else for anything, if something's said to you and you respond crazy, that's on you. Right? So the minute I decided that, I was like, okay, I'm ready. You kind of up there working it out, preparing for it. So the button was pushed. And every time I'd be like, oh, okay, cool, not a problem. And I would not respond, at least not in the midst of that moment. Now, at the very beginning, I didn't respond in that moment, but after I got off the phone or whatever, I got out his presence or whatever, oh, your girl went off. I'd be going off to walls. I'd just be going off. I'd be hot. I'd call my mentor back and be like, do you know this dude? Da, 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 da. Right? And then I calm down. I'd be like, but you know what? He ain't see me mad. He ain't see me responding crazy. Right? I ain't say nothing outside of myself. I didn't say anything that could affect my daughter or her relationship with her father or any of that. All decisions I made were based on exactly what it was about, my child. Because see, at the end of it, some of y'all realize y'all getting set up because folks lying on you. So they have to say things to you to get you to respond a certain way, so it appears as what they're saying is true. Follow me now. Follow me. You know what I'm talking about. That moment when they say, oh, she crazy, or he crazy, he don't do this, that, and the other, he crazy. And then that one minute they push that button and you respond and you say, well, you just won't get to do this anymore, even though you just won't get to see your daughter then next time, or you won't get to see your son next time. But you've never said that before. You're not that person, but they've been lying on you, saying you the reason why they don't see their child. Even though they right up the street and they making decisions not to see their child, but they making it seem like it's all you. They push that button, you going on because you just had it. And now all of a sudden it appears as though what they're saying is true. Setup. Don't fall for the setup. Focus on the child. Take yourself and deal with how you respond. Accept responsibility for the fact that this situation, I was there. I did it. I laid down with him. I had a baby with him. I did that. Right? And it's okay. Because like I said, I got the best part out the deal. Right? At the end of that thing, though, everything I say, every decision I make is so that she is in a position to be the most fulfilled child ever. These are things I've done. Now, here's what I challenge you to do. I challenge you to incorporate this into your life. Incorporate this into your life as a single parent. Incorporate it. Just test it out. Is it going to be easy at the beginning? Absolutely not. Because you got to park your emotions at the door. You got to choose a goal, choose a vision of seeing your child and seeing what you desire for your child, and let that thing be the one and all in everything. The one and all in everything. Do it for a few times. Leave comments under this video letting me know what happened when you incorporated it. If it was crazy at the beginning, okay, and that you're going to keep doing it until you see the change in your life, in you. Nowadays, dude can press 25 buttons, don't care. It doesn't faze me. It doesn't faze me. He does certain things sometimes that do faze me because it affects my child. And my goal and my vision is what's best for my child. Right? So those things I have to kind of remember, don't respond, just keep it together. And then I call my mentors, my father, my mother, and I talk it out. I deal with it as an adult that understands communication. And when you're responding out of your emotions and all of that, that's not always the best way to communicate. That's why people be lying, because they don't understand how to communicate their feelings correctly. So focus on that. If you tried it and you tried it, or you say, no, that just doesn't work. Well, if you leave a comment, leave a solution, because that could be one of the issues. You always can point out something wrong, but have no solution to fix it. Ain't nobody got time for that. Come with a solution. If this doesn't work, come with a solution of what you've done that's helped you to better respond and better communicate, so that ultimately the child has the best life ever. That is my single mom confession for today on how the key to successful single parenting. Come back very soon. I look forward to talking to you, and make sure you do that one thing I always say, keep smiling. Bye.